Hi everyone, SCHD is the most popular dividend ETF in America, and most people who own it are using it completely wrong. I'm about to show you 3 mistakes that cost investors tens of thousands of dollars over 20 years, and how to fix every single one today. Mistake 1, SCHD alone. SCHD holds 100 companies. Everyone thinks that's diversified. It's not. Around 20% sits in energy stocks, another 25% in financials. Your top 2 sectors control nearly half your portfolio. What happens when energy faces a decade of transition? When banks get disrupted by fintech? When those 2 sectors underperform? Your diversified dividend portfolio gets crushed. Here's what smart investors do. They pair SCHD with broader exposure. VTV holds over 350 companies. No sector exceeds 22%. When energy struggles, you've got 350 other companies carrying you. When financials rotate out of favor, you're protected. The allocation, 50% of SCHD for quality and yield. 50% VTV for diversification and protection. You still get SCHD's dividend growth, but now you've got 450 plus total companies protecting you against sector-specific disasters. One viewer commented, "I split between SCHD and VTV. When energy tanked, VTV's broader holdings saved my returns." That's the diversification play. Not complicated, just necessary. Mistake 2, ignoring the barbell strategy. SCHD focuses on traditional value, energy, financials, consumer staples, old economy companies that pay reliable dividends. Nothing wrong with that, except you're missing the other half of dividend growth. Technology companies now pay dividends. Apple, Microsoft, Broadcom, Cisco, these aren't speculative growth stocks anymore. They're cash-generating machines returning billions to shareholders. And their dividend growth rates destroy traditional sectors. FDVV is Fidelity High Dividend ETF. It leans heavily into tech dividend payers. Historically, FDVV has delivered strong returns during tech-driven bull markets, often outperforming SCHD when technology leads the broader market. Both dividend funds, completely different exposures. Our viewer nailed it. I'm building equal positions in SCHD and FDVV. Old economy plus tech dividends. Only 15% overlap. When traditional sectors lag, tech carries me. When tech corrects, value protects me. That's the barbell approach. Opposite ends of the economy working together. The allocation, 50% SCHD for traditional value, 50% FDVV for tech-focused dividends. You're covered whether old economy or new economy leads the next decade. You don't have to predict. You own both. Mistake 3, wrong account placement. This is the killer. This is where most investors lose $30,000 to $40,000 over 20 years without realizing it. You own SCHD. It typically yields around 3.5 to 4%. You hold it on a regular taxable brokerage account. Every year, you pay taxes on those dividends. At typical qualified dividend tax rates of 15 to 20%, that's real money disappearing. On $100,000 in SCHD, you're paying around $550 to $600 in dividend taxes annually. Over 20 years, that's $11,000 to $12,000 gone. But the real cost is what that money would have become if it stayed invested and compounded. The actual wealth destruction, approximately $25,000 to $30,000. Here's what changes everything. Account type matters more than fund selection. Roth IRAs have a superpower. Everything inside grows tax-free forever. Contributions are capped at current IRS limits, typically around $7,000 annually. If you're under 50 and around $8,000 if you're 50 or older. Put your highest yield fund in your Roth. SCHD generating income without ever creating a tax bill. That same $100,000 in a Roth IRA, 0 taxes on dividends. Ever. Over 20 years, you keep all $11,000 to $12,000 that would have gone to taxes, plus all the compounding growth on that money. Taxable brokerage accounts are for your lowest yield funds. VTV at around 2% yield creates minimal tax bills. You're paying approximately $300 annually in dividend taxes instead of $550 to $600. That $250 to $300 annual difference becomes $8,000 to $10,000 over 20 years when you account for compounding. Traditional IRAs and 401ks are for middle-tier yields. These accounts defer taxes until retirement when you're likely in a lower bracket. The complete system. Roth IRA. SCHD at its higher yield. Maximum contributions every year. Never pay taxes on those dividends. Taxable account. VTV at its lower yield. Broad diversification with minimal tax drag. Traditional IRA 401k, VYM, or DGRO at moderate yields around 3%. Tax-deferred growth until withdrawal. Same funds, different accounts, tens of thousands of dollars in savings over decades. The real-world numbers. Let's put actual numbers on this. Portfolio, $300,000 total across all accounts. Wrong way, $300,000 in taxable account. All in SCHD, generating approximately $11,000 to $12,000 in dividends annually, paying $1,650 to $1,800 in taxes every year. Over 20 years with compounding, approximately $40,000 to $45,000 paid to the IRS. Right way, $100,000 SCHD in Roth, zero taxes, $100,000 in VTV in taxable, around $300 annual taxes, $100,000 VYM in traditional, deferred. Over 20 years, approximately $14,000 to $16,000 in taxes. The difference, $25,000 to $30,000 saved. That money compounds, grows, stays in your portfolio instead of funding government operations. This isn't about earning higher returns. It's about keeping more of what you earn. The advanced play. For investors who want maximum optimization. Roth IRA, 100% SCHD. Lock in that high-yield tax-free forever. Taxable account. 60% VTV for broad value diversification. 40% FDVV for tech dividend growth. Combined yield around 2 to 2.5%. Minimal annual taxes. Maximum sector coverage. Traditional accounts. 50% VYM for broad dividend exposure across 550 plus companies. 50% DGRO for dividend growth focus. Total strategy, over 1,100 different dividend-paying companies. Tax optimized across every account type, old economy and new economy both represented. Protection against any sector-specific collapse. You've eliminated concentration risk, minimized tax drag, positioned for any market environment. Why this survives 30 years. Markets change, sectors rotate. Yesterday's winners become tomorrow's losers. A portfolio built on 100 companies in 2 sectors won't survive 3 decades of change. A portfolio built on 1,100 plus companies across all sectors, tax optimized across multiple account types, positioned in both traditional and technology dividends, that survives. You're not predicting which sectors win. You're owning enough companies that you're positioned for whatever wins. What to do right now? Check where your dividend funds currently sit. If SCHD is in a taxable account generating big tax bills, you're making mistake 3. Max out retirement account contributions, get those high-yield funds into Roth IRAs immediately, stop paying annual taxes on dividend income, add diversification. If you only own SCHD, you're making mistake 1. Add VTV for broader sector coverage. Consider FDVV for the tech barbell approach. Rebalance by account type, highest yields in Roth, lowest yields in taxable, middle yields in traditional accounts. These aren't complicated changes. They're systematic improvements that compound over decades. The truth about dividend investing. SCHD is excellent, but it's not complete. Used alone, it leaves you concentrated in 100 companies in 2 sectors. Held in the wrong account, it generates unnecessary tax bills for 20 plus years. Combined with broader funds, optimized across account types, it becomes part of a system that actually survives long term. Most dividend content compares yield. Nobody discusses concentration risk, or tax placement, or sector balance. That's why retail investors underperform. They are optimizing the wrong variables. But if you want a dividend strategy that survives the next 30 years instead of just looking good today, fix these 3 mistakes. Smash that like button if this changed how you see dividend investing. Share with someone who owns SCHD. Subscribe for real strategies without the fluff. The smartest investors don't chase the highest yield. They build complete systems. Education only. Your decisions, your responsibility, your outcomes. This content is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. All investing carries risk. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. This is InvestED. Welcome to wealth construction that survives when everything else collapses. Smash that like button, share with someone who needs this, and subscribe for real market insights. Here's to protecting your wealth and investing smart. Profitable investing.